This is a little bit of a different video format, kind of like the old way we did videos, but I had the displeasure of watching Gotham Knights. And I wanted to talk about it because I feel like I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. And this whole thing is not... This show is something else. I could write fan fictions better than this show. And honestly, I wasn't even sure me and Mr. Onesie Man here, who actually likes his clothes, believe it or not, he's much calmer in clothes. There he goes. We decided to watch this show, and it's weird because it works much better as a fan fiction, which is something I'm going to get to in a minute. There's a lot of problems with Gotham Knights, and at first I wasn't sure if I even wanted to cover it or talk about it at all, because I actually feel guilty talking about it. I feel bad for Misha Collins. Misha Collins is one of my favorite actors in TV work. I think he's fantastic. He played Castiel for like 11 years. Oh my, Cosmo is going crazy down there. He played Castiel for like 11 years on Supernatural, and he did a fantastic job during his whole tenure as the character. He is a good actor. And I wanted to rip on this show really hard. And then I got like second thoughts on it because I stumbled across an interview with Misha Collins that just made me sad, where he talked about how he was really excited to play this role as Harvey Dent and how he was like happy and this was the role of a lifetime and super interesting to him. And I watched the show and then I saw that and like I wanted to just go after it, and I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, you know when you have a friend, it's like when you have a friend, or maybe this is a better example, when like your little brother or little sister or cousin, they make like a painting, right? And it's absolute dog shit. It's just terrible. You don't want to go after them and say, that's dog shit, you're never going anywhere in life, that's terrible. You go, oh, what a nice painting, I'll put that with the other ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get the kids' hopes up at least. You make them think you think the painting is good because you care about the kid, right? It's not about the objective art quality of the painting. It's about you like that kid. You're like, hey, you know what? You're my cousin or my son or my little brother or whatever. You know, you're a sweet kid. I like your painting. That's how I feel about Misha Collins in this show. Because everyone around him, I could not care less about hurting their feelings. Okay, none of them seem like they want to be here. But every time he's on screen playing Harvey Dent, it genuinely feels like he wants to be in the show and wants the show to be good. Now, normally I would show some clips of this show, but WB especially, and I will say actually even more than that, oh my, Cosmo just attacked the camera.
He just jumped on me.
Even more than that, the CW, I would say, is so overprotective with their shows when it comes to criticism, right? You could make a very in-depth piece on like Arrow or Supergirl. I guess Supergirl's like what, NBC? Maybe that's not a good example. Arrow or Flash or whatever, any of those. And as long as it's positive, it's like, oh yeah, cool, this person's like promoting our show, great. But as soon as you do something negative, the copyright strikes come flying in. You know, they really, in my opinion, have abused copyright to silence people. So because of that, I'm not going to show you anything from the show. You should just look it up if you really want to suffer. One of the worst scenes in this show, though, involved Misha Collins. It was nothing he did, but it was during a, what do you call it, an interrogation, if you can even call it that. It was more like just a soft interview with the police, where this one character who's trans, who I never knew was trans, because I think most of the characters for this show are either made up or modified, okay? Like Turner Hayes being the son of Batman. I don't know who that is. They made him up. Whenever I hear it, Sneezy over there doesn't like it either. For some reason, my brain just inserts Brock Turner Hayes. Like, again, like flashbacks to previous things. So, whatever. But when it comes down to it, there's this scene in the show where the police are interrogating this person, and for some reason they're like, oh, well, you see on your birth certificate it says you were born female or whatever, and your name is, and then Harvey Dent's like, listen, let's not use this person's dead name, okay? That's not cool. Scene could end right there. All right? There would be a few people online who would be like, oh, look at the woke thing. They put a trans person in. But most people would be like, oh, so this character's trans. Okay. Well, I hope the show's good. You know, it's just like move to the next scene, right? Or like move to the next piece of dialogue. That's it. You know, like it just doesn't matter. It's like when Lucius Fox comes on the screen in a TV show, not everyone's like, oh, he's black. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, it's Lucius Fox. Okay. Nobody really thinks about it. But then, no. The CW in their infinite wisdom and attempt to be witty they're like, let's go further with that. Let's hit them with a 500-pound line right here. And they go, oh, well, you know, actually, I've got another dead name for you then. Bruce Wayne, because he's dead. And then at that point, Harvey's just like, yeah, just like leave. Okay, like just get out. And he says what we're all thinking, like just leave. Okay, just get out. Because I feel bad for the actor who had to deliver that line, by the way. I don't know who he is. And that's the thing. I can't be bothered to remember most of the names of the characters or actors in this. And I have really nothing against them. I think if they get offended by criticism of like an absolute dog shit show, I'm sorry, but the show is bad. It's just Misha Collins I feel bad for, because I genuinely feel like I'm disappointing someone I care about by not liking this show. I don't know why I feel that. Maybe it's because I grew up watching Supernatural. I've always had like a connection to those characters and to those actors like Jensen, Jared, and Misha. I've always loved them. And Mark Shepard, you know, Crowley, and there's others in there too. It just makes me sad, because this show is an idea that could work. I mean, you very clearly could do something like this. You could do a Batman TV show for a few seasons and then have a follow-up show where his proteges or whatever have to fill in for his wake. But when it becomes so bad that even the game Twitter is tweeting out about, hey, look, we're not associated with the show, and the game already has problems, that's not a good look at all. There's really nothing of substance in this show that can be written home about, I don't think, or like that's worth your time. We've got like the world's nosiest cat back again. And in general, I actually think that it just came off like a waste of time for me to watch it. I wish that there was like really funny stuff to talk about, but that's about it. It's also just extremely lazy. They reuse a poster from the Batman in the background of this actual show. So they took a poster from the Batman, you can look this up and find it online, and they just airbrushed it and used it as like a picket sign for a like a protest at like basically at the Batman funeral or whatever, where it's like, oh, Batman's dead, and someone's holding a literal poster from the Batman in the background.
Does it have Robert Pattinson on it?
Yes.
Really?
They just airbrushed out his face.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious. It's terrible. Everything in this show is lazy and terrible. There's nothing to really enjoy. There's not even that much to make fun of. Like, I want to watch the show and laugh at it, but nothing's funny in it either. And I don't remember if this line was in this episode. I genuinely don't remember. But I do remember from the trailer, there was also a really weird line from Carrie Kelly where it was like, she says, oh, Batman called me his little Robin, which again, I find questionable in terms of how that dialogue is laid out. It's just bizarre. Overall, I want to view, like, part of me wants to never touch this again. The other part of me just wants to forcefully insert this into Supernatural canon and say that following the events of the show, Castiel went off, like, in the multiverse to a universe where he could, like, reenact his Batman fan fiction, and that this is just what's happening, right? Kind of like, it's like a holodeck episode of The Next Generation, right? You watch it and you're like, oh, Data's not really a detective. He's playing a detective here, right? That's why it's silly. Oh, Captain Picard, he's not really this guy. You know, he's not a cowboy or whatever. He's playing one. I kind of want to view it like that.
I like the idea that Castiel is a really bad writer.
It would make sense because his dad was, in a lot of ways. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on the show? Did you watch it? Did you suffer like I did? That Metal Gear Solid line of like, why are we here just to suffer? It's like blasting full bass in my head as I watch the show. It's just horrible. I have had more fun. When I was a kid, my dad got kidney stones, okay, and he was in the hospital, and I had more fun sitting in the hospital waiting room reading Sonic the Hedgehog Archie comics than I had at home in the comfort of my home watching Gotham Knights.
Wow.
That says a lot about how bad this show is. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content. I appreciate you very, very much. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.